Alrighty then, welcome to the Yankee Recon podcast where we talk all things Yankees and sports related content. My name is Steve Coombe along with the partner in crime, Frankie Crespo. We are two New Yorkers that love all things sports. I said last episode that we love all things New York. So I needed to redeem myself with that intro. Anyways, so for today's podcast episode, we will be talking about the last three games. The last three games, which ended up in the sweep. We absolutely swept the Giants. Kind of shocking. I thought the games that we played against the Giants were going to be a lot more competitive, but our bullpen actually shut them down, and we got some hits. We got some really good hits. We got to see some at bats from Judge, Chisholm, Rice, Stanton, Caballero, McMahon. Well, everybody did their job. Everybody did their job. So, before we begin, uh, thank you for 20 subscribers. Woo! We made
Yeah,
it,
yes.
Mama. We made it. I used to pray for times like this. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We try to post as high quality as possible with our shorts, with our podcast episodes that we release. We not trying to aim for the stars. We just trying to aim for what we think is reasonable. And I feel like this is a good spot for us right now. Obviously, we gotta keep on growing with more episodes to come by. But this is obviously a good start. And thank you for the support. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It's free, you don't have to drop any money, right? You don't have to drop money for subscribing. I don't
No,
think
no,
so.
of course not.
No,
Not yet.
no. So there's no excuse not for you to subscribe. Anyways, so let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's get straight into it. Game one, Yankees go on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants, and it was hosted on Netflix, and it kind of felt like Sunday Night Football. It's the opening game for it felt like it's the opening game for the rest of the season, and we saw the entrance of like the Yankees coming out of like taxi cabs
Yeah.
and like the Giants coming out of like the big trolleys. So it kind of felt intense. It kind of felt intense watching it because you had a good matchup with Max Fried and Logan Webb, but the Yankees really just went right into work and took down the Giants. They really found a way around Logan Webb very early into the game too. Even though Logan Webb went out there with 7 strikeouts, as Logan Webb typically does, he's usually known for those getting around. And to be fair, 4 of those strikeouts, actually no, 3 of those strikeouts came from. Wait, was it 4 or 3? Yeah, 4 of those strikeouts came from Aaron Judge. Dot dot dot. Um, we still really found a way to hit around Logan Webb and the rest of this roster. So, what are some key takeaways that you found from this game?
Um, just from game one, honestly, my first reaction was, I was really worried about our lineup. Not that our lineup was bad, was just how they were gonna come off at first.
Mhm.
The first guy that I was looking at was Grisham. Grisham led off this game, and he ended up racking up 2 RBIs, um, which was great. Grisham played a great game. He plays obviously always great defense. Um, Another takeaway was actually Stanton. I was really worried for Stanton coming into the season. I wasn't sure how he was gonna perform, but he has currently the highest batting average in a very short, sample size. But I'm very happy with that so far from Stanton. Um, and obviously, the biggest shock was Judge going 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, Golden Sombrero. Very disappointing, obviously, but maybe expected also just the way that he's been performing recently. At least at that moment during game one. Obviously, when you get to game two and game three, things seem to shift, which is great. The defense was pretty good. I think any errors that you remember from game one?
There was a late error. I think it was a late error that came from. Actually, no, there was no errors. I'm talking about the next game. No, there wasn't any errors in game one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the defense was impeccable. Like it was pretty good. I thought it was nice to see Rice at first base. He played very well there. And this team really set a really good message that even though Judge may not perform, that the other guys in the lineup can perform, which is definitely exciting.
Yeah, it was expected. Like I said, I was a tad bit surprised because I thought looking at the Giants roster, you got Bader, you got Jung-Hoo Lee, you got Heliot Ramos, Devers. These are all players that had really good outings last year on the San Francisco Giants. Except for Bader. Bader didn't play with the Giants, but still, that being said, um there was not a lot of good contact from the team. They grounded into quite a few double plays. Um, and for Giants fans, it was definitely disappointing. For Yankees fans, it felt like a new fresh paint. Like I don't know the phrase. How do you say the phrase? Like a new.
New beginning, you
It's
know.
it's a new beginning
It was
because
refreshing. It was refreshing.
because yeah, yeah, because last year was kind of this like we were in the slump where it's just we kept on grounding into double plays. We kept, and we're still doing that. We did that a few times with the bases loaded. We also had those annoying errors that we used to see a lot, especially from a guy that played in shortstop that shall not be named. But
Right.
it kind of felt like a fresh new start for the Yankees, and this was even though quote unquote we were playing the Giants. The Giants were semi-competitive last year. I think many people forget about that. Like some they had some motion going into the season. They were close tight. They were close to get close against the Dodgers to remain in first place. Ultimately, they fell off due to injuries and whatnot. But like I said, I was surprised and also thankful because I didn't want to see an error happen. But yeah, the biggest disappointment came from Judge. And if you watch the first short that I made off of Judge, I didn't know if he was still in a slump. I didn't know if he was still going through something with the World Baseball Classic. But like 0-5, 0-5, it's just it's unacceptable. And obviously, you learn over time. I feel, and he'll learn over time to hopefully take more takes and not to go too crazy on the mound. But he did improve in the next game.
Yeah, definitely. Game two was gonna be highly anticipated because Judge going 0 for 4, striking out, and then obviously the full scene was 0 for 5, and he made contact to second base basically. Um, you know, uh, Coming into that game, you kind of wanted to see Judge perform because you knew the other guys could perform, and another shutout, 3-0, right?
Yeah.
Going into game two, with Judge hitting a two-run home run and Stan hitting a solo shot. It was definitely exciting to see. Again, the defense was great. I mean, you don't get a shutout without great defense. And it was great to see Jazz. It was great to see Cabby. Great to see Goldschmidt. And it was great to see McMahon always. At least he's gonna play defense, and
Mhm.
Wells also playing catcher.
Yeah.
So no, it was great. Game two was great, and similarly with game three.
Yeah. Ben Rice didn't play that game too, and I thought that was interesting. I was also interested with Cam Sutler. He's still, and I feel like, and a lot of Yankees fans, and maybe some sports fan would agree with this. Like Cam Sutler is genuinely like the future for the Yankees. You could tell that he likes to be on this team because he's been performing in a way that many people didn't see in Cam previously. They thought it was like, oh, it's a rookie, so he might get hit around a couple times. And for a while he did, but he kind of he didn't fall off, but like he got out of that slump and he had that great outing in Boston in the wild card series. He did okay with the Toronto series, although the Toronto series this was just where they just had too much power hitting and we didn't really have a bullpen at the time. Um so there was a lot of expectation when it comes to like, all right, we're putting Cam Sutler into the starting rotation while Garrett Cole is out, while Luis Gil is out. How is he going to perform? And this is what we see. This is what we want to see for a guy. And he only pitched 68 he only pitched only 68 pitches. So I
Right.
thought that was also interesting. Um, we also used a lot of the bullpen. Fernando Cruz didn't really pitch much. It was more of Tim Hill and Camilo Duvall, which Camilo Duvall, I've always been high in Camilo Duvall. I know you've been a little bit lower on terms of like Camilo Duvall, but I think getting into I like to call it is pinstripe pressure. He definitely felt
Right.
that when he got into the Bronx, but I think he's settling in well. And David Butner gets his first save. Yeah. Well, for Will, like I said, I don't. Well, like you said, actually, I don't see Will Warren getting too far. I don't even see him being a bullpen setup. The reason why I asked that is just like some people were like, "Oh, Will Warren might be a good selection for a bullpen setup," but I don't see it. I'm curious to see how Will Warren will go over the season as he'll take on some tougher opponents. I think he's going to start actually I think he's going to the Miami game that I'm going to be going to. So
Well, that's
I'll
good.
have my full opinion on Will Warren. But obviously it's March, so 83 pitches and 4 innings. It's not the ideal start for a starter, but it's also not the worst thing in the
Right.
world, right? We get to see how our bullpen is up to. We got to see Hedrick play Tim Hill, Jake Bird, Bednar. Like these are like bullpen names that you don't really hear outside of Bednar. No diss to Bednar. Um, these are bullpen pieces you don't really hear of. So we're just kind of in that phase. Since it's March, it's just like toying around to see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah. Again, this is very early into the season, but um, there's a lot of positive signs. There's a lot of green flags with this Yankees team. Um, Obviously, I'm not gonna say red flags, but there's definitely some yellow flags on this team right now. Again, the biggest thing is the captain. I think Judge has to perform, better.
Mhm.
And I mean, even the announcers yesterday were like, is he gonna just be a strikeout or home run guy? Which is something you never want to hear about a guy who he just won a batting title last season. He was just hitting
Yeah,
over 300
right.
last season, and he's coming off a World Baseball Classic, which must be exhausting, and all the media pressures on him, and he's playing in San Francisco, which he has a lot of emotional connection to. So, I'm just hoping to
Mhm.
see how he's going to play against the Mariners and some of these next series coming up also.
Yeah. I mean, everything is a yellow flag, right? This is March baseball, right? So we're really just looking at what will work, what doesn't work. Everything is a yellow flag, right? You swing at something that you're not supposed to swing at. That's a yellow flag. It turns red when it happens in like June to July because you should at least expect to know what you're doing. Um, you know what I mean? Like so it's expected. Everything is just a process, but ultimately every game is a game that you have to win. I understand that it's the first half, so like the first half doesn't really matter. But it kind of does. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
kind of does. Like let's look back to last year where it's like we had so many games that were winnable and then the bullpen blew it or Judge swung and miss. And that's how Toronto was able to have the position that they have. Do I think Toronto would have uh lost to us if we had home field advantage in the ALDS? No, no, but it would have been really nice to have another division win so we can add that to our banner because our banners we clearly don't have enough, right? Right? Right?
But yeah, I mean, I honestly get what you're saying because the Yankees, the biggest concern is, you know what? I don't want to hear Boone. I don't want to hear anybody who's associated with the Yankees say, it's okay to lose a game. It's not okay to lose a game. Why? Because we've seen again from last season that every game matters. Literally every game matters. You know, um, because again, we shouldn't have been as close as to the Blue Jays that we were. Again, towards the end of the season where we're fighting for that number one spot. Why are
Yeah.
we fighting for the number one spot? That's not what the Yankees do. The Yankees get ahead of everybody and they stay ahead of everybody. Like there was a lot of games that yes, you could talk about the relievers, you could talk about certain position players, you could talk about bad management. But there's a lot of games that just come down to simple baseball that we don't have to lose a game um, at all.
Correct.
Just keep winning.
Correct. I agree with that. I agree with that. That being said, it's March baseball. We're seeing what
Hmm.
works and we're seeing what doesn't work. But the thing to keep in mind is that let's not throw away games. Okay? Let's just see what works and what doesn't work. And like I said, this series was a good series to win. Like I thought it would be more competitive, but back-to-back sweeps and only giving up one run is more ideal than what's expected from the Yankees. And so now heading into Seattle, this is really going to be the test in terms of the hitting, in terms of everything, really. Because Seattle is a great team this year. They've always been a good team, but this is the year where Seattle is pretty much going all in. Um, so they play tomorrow, and that we will see they debut. By the time this episode is up, um, the series is probably going to be wrapped up or going into the third game. That being said, Ron Weathers will get his first start as a Yankee, and it's not going to be easy. He's going to take up a rough Seattle Mariners lineup. Do you have any hope when it comes to Ryan Weathers?
Yeah, definitely. I think his stuff is good. I think he has a lot of potential. Obviously, I mean, I don't like, let's just forget about what he used to do. I want to see what he's gonna do today and in the future.
Hmm.
I understand people have seen what Ryan Weathers has done in the past with the Marlins, but I think he has a lot of potential to do great things today.
Yeah,
Today and for tomorrow.
yeah,
Um, he is gonna get put under trial, basically a Yankee trial, over here in New York if he doesn't have success. But you know what? Honestly, again, he's not going to be probably a guy that you're going to see as a starting pitcher if he doesn't have success in the first place. Again, we're the starting depth is hurt right now and we have some guys waiting to come back. Um, does he have potential as a reliever? Yeah, definitely. His fastball is extremely fast. He has a great slider. I think he has the qualities to become a reliever if he doesn't have success as a starter. And yeah, I am interested to see how he does against the Mariners. I think the Mariners have a lot of great um, right-handed hitters. I especially, I mean, I want to see him against the big names. I wanted to see him face Randy, and I want to see him face, Kyle also. So I'm interested to see how he's going to perform in that game.
Ryan Weathers is going to feel that pressure. He's going to feel that pinstripe pressure. Um, but this is a good test. This is a good opportunity to see what he can do against a Seattle team that, like I said, they're putting their eggs in their basket and they're saying that this is the time to win now. Last year was last year and we made it so far. This is the year that we're going to take it one step extra. So, again, I guess, bro. I guess we're putting our money on Ryan Rogers and hope that we hit the blackjack. So, um, so I'm looking forward to that game. I'm actually looking forward to see what he can do. Um, that being said, one other thing before we go, the ABS system. How are you liking the ABS?
Good. I mean, we've seen the Yankees take advantage of the ABS system. We've seen the Yankees have success with the ABS system. Um, I'm I still think, I was wrong. I think earlier in the episodes, I remember mentioning that I thought the ABS system was going to hurt pitch framing. It hasn't. Pitch framing is still going to be, I think, a huge quality for catchers because, listen, if you make a mistake twice and you lose your challenges, you're still going to need a pitch frame. I think we saw Patrick Bailey still have a lot of success as a pitch framer, and Austin Wells also pitch framing, despite teams having challenges. So yeah, I think it's gonna be something that a lot of you're gonna have to still see. Like we still need a larger sample size. I still think we need a couple seasons of the ABS system to truly see if this is like a really good system, if it's successful. But so far, so good. I do want to
Yeah.
see other results from other teams in the league. Um, to really see how the ABS system has been working out. But I do know the ABS system has saved a lot of bad calls, and I hope to continue to see that the ABS system gives players an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah. So far, it looks so good. I mean, Jose Caballero had the honor of getting the first ABS system in which that was not overturned.
Right.
So and that's like forever in history. Like you have the honor of being the first person to get the ABS system wrong. So good on you, Cabby. Good on you.
Nice try. It was a good
um,
try.
it was a nice try. It was a nice try. But yeah, I'm noticing that the ABS system is being played more. Um, what's the word? It's not appropriately, but like more like when you like when you preservatively, like they're preserving the
Yeah.
use of using ABS early into the game. We saw that in spring training more, where they were just like, "Oh, let's use ABS to like fuck around with it." Now it's a bit more serious with ABS because it's obviously every game matters. So I like the strategy of the ABS using the best time to use it, the appropriate time for using it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't take too much time. I mean, when I go to my game, I will have my opinion on it. But from the looks of it, it doesn't take too much time out of the game. Um, it's not like people are calling ABS every call. If they did do that, then maybe the fans will start booing because it's like, well, what the hell are we watching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're using it in a more of appropriate manner, and that's expected. But it's also nice to see. It's also nice to see that some calls are being overturned. Not that it's the umpire's fault, when it kind of is. Um, it's not trying to replace umpires because umpires are ultimately like they're here to stay. I think they should stay in the game.
Right.
Um, it's all about just making the game better, making the game more logical. Um, so with that being said, ABS is here to stay, and that is, in my opinion, what's best for baseball.
Yeah, definitely. And is there anything else you want to make before closing remarks?
No, I think that's it. I mean, this we're here. We're here to stay. This is the regular season. We're covering games as we go by. We cover shorts too. We make shorts almost every single game. At least we try. Um
Yes.
so again, and we really appreciate the support. One day at a time, one subscriber at a time.
Yes, and we are on the road to 162 wins. So let's just keep going. Let's win every single regular season
3 games
game.
up.
And then yeah, and then hopefully success in the postseason also. So let's just do it. Come on, Yankees.
Yeah. Let's go Yankees.